So let us continue this lecture with what we have planned last time, namely adjoint and adjoint determinant formula. So I will prove it today. So let us recall what we did last time. Last time for a matrix, square matrix Aij in MnK, we have defined the adjoint matrix. The adjoint matrix that we have denoted ADJ A, and this is defined Aij tilde, where Aij tilde is defined -1 power I plus j capital Aji. And what is capital Aij and capital Aij? They are defined. I will define them in terms of the standard delta function. So we have delta E, this is standard determinant function on k power n. N times standard alternating n multilinear form on k power n. So this is an element in alt n k power n, and this is one dimensional. That is the most important fact we have been using in this. And this capital Aij is -1 power I plus j delta E evaluated on x1 to x I xj minus 1 ei xj plus 1 to xn, where these x1 to xn are the columns of A. So I will write it here. This is also, it is x1 xn. So they are the column vectors of A. Remember here, so this is very easy. You take a standard determinant function and at the jth position you put the standard Eith vector and evaluate the standard determinant function there, and this value is a some scalar, and last time I showed you why this -1 power I plus j occurs. So this was the adjoint matrix, and now I want to prove. So we will prove the adjoint determinant formula, but before that I will take this opportunity also to prove the expansion theorem. So remember, a determinant of A, by definition it was summation running over sigma in Sn sin sigma, and the product is from j equal to 1 to n A sigma j j, and also this is equal to, when you replace sigma by sigma inverse in this summation, then it is sigma in Sn sin sigma product I is from 1 to n Ai sigma I. Now this one is a determinant, expansion of the determinant in terms of the column the first column. This is expansion in terms of first column. What does one mean by that? If you write the columns like this is the first column, and what you do, you take the first entry, remove this row, remove this column and take the minor. Then go to the next entry with the alternating sign. Then this entry, remove this row, remove this column, remove this row, remove this column, and whatever the n minus 1 minor comes, that determinant. So, it is, one can define it inductively also like this, and these are the terms of those. The sign comes because it is alternating. No? Similarly, the second equality is by using the first row. So, first row, that is what usually it took standard way to define, like 2 by 2 we used to do like this in the school. Take this entry times this, take this entry with a minus sign times this, and so on. So, this is the expansion in terms of the first column, and this is expansion in terms of first row, and somehow it was preferred rows. But if you see our exposition, columns are better exposed for some reason. Okay. So, now I want to use the adjoint entries to also give expansion of the determinant in terms of any ith row or any jth column, not necessarily first ones. So, that is the next theorem I have written. So, that is, so the theorem I want to prove is, this is I will call expansion theorems. Theorem for determinants. So, you have a matrix A, Aij, and I and j are in between 1 and n, they are fixed, I and j fixed. So, in the definition I was 1 and j was also 1. And then determinant of A equal to summation is running from k equal to 1 to n minus 1 power k plus j entry of the kjth entry of the matrix times this akj. This is expansion in terms of the jth column. So, just remember, this is expansion of det in terms of jth column. Similarly, now expansion in terms of the ith row, that is summation k equal to 1 to n minus 1 power I plus k A I k capital A I k. This is expansion of det in terms of ith row. Both are very important, because for some reason if your matrix has ith row or jth column has many 0 entries, then it is better to expand in terms of that row or that column, because then the computation will become faster. Instead of applying Gauss and bringing up them to this position, that position, directly you can, so that will save time for calculation. That is the, and later on if I have more time, or maybe in the next course, I will also prove expansion theorems when not in terms of one row or one column, but in terms of bunch of rows and in terms of bunch of columns. So, that will be also interesting, but I do not know whether I will finish in this. Okay, so, let us prove this. It is enough to prove the, so proof, enough to prove the first equality. Because the second equality will be same when you replace A by A transpose, and we already know A and determinant A transpose have the same value. So, it is always our philosophy that use the theory results to make the computation faster. Okay, so, this is okay. So, it is enough to prove the first equality. Now, what is the determinant? I will use alternating multilinear form. So, determinant A is by definition delta E evaluated at the columns x12 and jth column is somewhere here xj xn, where delta E is the standard, and it is, you think of it is a map from mnk to k. This mnk you can think of kn cross kn cross kn n times. This is alternating multilinear form. This is standard alternating. We define these by using the standard basis of kn, and the standard basis also we think like columns. So, in this, so what is given? So, in this I am going to put, so what is xj? Xj is the jth column of A. So, that is delta E. I am going to put xj. So, what is xj? Xj is therefore summation. Summation is running over k equal to 1 to n A k j E k. We have used the standard basis elements to write this column in terms of the standard basis. So, the coefficients are obviously the entries in the jth column. The first entry is A1j, second entry is A2j and so on. So, I am just going to put that in this summation k is equal to 1 to n A k j E k, and all others are same columns x1 to, other than the jth entry I have not changed. Now, what do we do with this? Use the fact that the delta E is alternating and multilinear. So, I will take this sum out. So, therefore, this is equal to summation is running over k equal to 1 to n delta not delta. So, the coefficients first. So, A k j delta E x1 to xj minus 1, then here is E k xj plus 1 to xn. This is just a multilinearity. And what is this? This is how precisely what we have defined capital A k. So, this is minus 1 power k plus j capital A k j. So, that is it. This is summation k equal to 1 to n A k j. This one you take it out, minus 1 power k plus j capital A k j. This is what we wanted to prove. So, this shows if your definitions are in order, the proofs are also easier. Okay. So, now we come to the adjoint determinant formula. So, remember we have defined adjoint of A, ADJ. This is a transpose of, so that is A I j tilde, and A I j tilde is minus 1 power I plus j, and not capital A I j, but capital A j I. It is a transpose of. And now what I want to prove is This is called adjoint matrix of A. This is also matrix in Mn. This is also same size square matrix. And this ijth entry here, this tilde A ij, this is ijth entry of this, ijth entry is called the cofactor, ijth cofactor of A. These are the standard terms one usually use. I will again not go to a numerical example. Okay, so the main theorem is this following theorem. This also I will keep referring adjoint determinant theorem. So, A is any matrix, square matrix with entries in arbitrary field K. Then if I take the adjoint of this matrix and multiply the matrix A, or do the other way, that is multiply A on the left, this is nothing but determinant of A times identity matrix. So, remember this matrix is a diagonal matrix with entries on the diagonal determinant A and 0 is the diagonal matrix. So, this let us prove this first and then we will draw the consequences. Proof. All right. So, remember the definition of adjoint is ijth entry is tilde, aij tilde, and aij tilde is minus 1 power I plus j capital Aj. So, when you multiply, okay, again I will prove only one of the equality and the other equality will follow by replacing A by A transpose. So, I will prove only the first this equality, this equal to this, that equality I will prove, and this equality will follow by replacing A by A transpose or by using the row, or if I use a column expansion for this, then one uses for this equality the row expansion similarly. Okay, so what is the product ADJ A times A? This product is again a n cross n matrix, so let us call it Bij. And how are the Bij's computed? Then Bij will be equal to summation over k equal to 1 to n. So, that Bijth entry will be the kth row here multiplied by the ith row here multiplied by the jth column here, corresponding entries, and added it. So, I have to look for the ith row here. So, ith row here will be first index will be I k tilde times jth column there. So, that is A k j. This is the Bij, the ijth entry of this product. But this is same as, I just plug in what is tilde, that is same as summation k is from 1 to n minus 1 power, this I am writing k plus I, this here capital A ki. times A kj. But this one, now you look carefully, this one the only term which will survive here for I equal to j, because if I is different from j, this one is a repeated column there in the cofactor. So, this is nothing, it is only survive for I equal to j. So, there, and in that case because of the expansion theorem it will be the determinant. So, this is nothing but delta ij, where delta ij is the Kronecker delta times the determinant of A. Because, so let me write the reason, because we have proved in the expansion theorem above that determinant of A is summation k equal to 1 to n minus 1 power k plus j a k j capital A k j. See, so that is when I equal to j, it is precisely this equality which I wrote, which we proved in expansion theorem, that will precisely give for I equal to j it is determinant, and for I not equal to j it is 0. So, that proves what we want. So, that proves what we want. This product we have proved, it is equal to this matrix, determinant, determinant and the diagonal. Okay, now some consequences. Okay. So, first of all, suppose you have an invertible matrix, if A is in GL n k, that is A is invertible. Remember that we have proved earlier that this is equivalent to checking the determinant is non-zero. This also let me just remind you, this also we proved by using the standard determinant function. That means A inverse exists, this invertible means A inverse exists, and we want to compute A inverse. For the, then we can actually write down a formula for inverse. Then A inverse, this matrix is nothing but determinant inverse. Determinant is a non-zero scalar. So, therefore, this makes sense in the field, this times the adjoint matrix, because when you substitute this in that adjoint determinant formula, you get the identity matrix. So, therefore, this is the inverse and its uniqueness, that and so on, all that. So, this is how one usually computes the determinant, the inverse. Okay. Okay. Now, I want to write one corollary, but before I write one corollary, also I want to note explicitly that adjoint of, what happens to the adjoint of the transpose, this is same as transpose of the adjoint. Just from the first equality, if you replace A by A transpose, you will get this also. So, okay. Now, another thing I want to deduce is, so let me write this as a corollary. This is usually known as Cramer's rule. Many such computational rules in standard references one usually see them as statements but not the proofs. One reason could be because calculation becomes more messier if one does not use standard determinant functions. So, and we are deducing them easily because we are always using standard determinant functions. And also I want to take this opportunity to make one more comment, that remember when V is n dimensional, then and we are studying these alternating, let us say R linear forms on V, and we have checked that when R is bigger, strictly bigger than n, these are all 0. So, the first time it is non-zero is also that determines the dimension of the vector space. So, that is the first time alt n V non-zero, and this is one dimensional. And then when you want to study earlier cases, that is also a very nice theory, but one for that one needs to do so called higher multilinear algebra, and those will be related to in general R cross R minus of the given matrix. So, things becomes also messier for calculation, but if you keep using the alternating forms it becomes much neater also. But unfortunately in this course I will not be able to do that, and so that will also it's the next step will be to study instead of bilinear forms. So, that will be the next step to study concretely more bilinear forms, and that will usually lead to inner product spaces and so on and so on. So, that will be the next course beginning. Okay. So, Cramer's rule now. So, we have a system of linear equations. So, let E be a system of n linear equations in n unknowns. And that I am going to write, as usually one writes like this: a11 x1 plus a1 n xn equal to b1, and this is the first equation, and the nth equation is a n1 x1 plus a n n xn equal to bn, and we want to solve this equation. So, usually the coefficient, so the coefficient matrix is with coefficient matrix coefficient matrix A, which we are denoting Aij. This is now n cross n matrix over a field K. And remember, when we use Gauss elimination, we have noticed that if you want to write down the solutions of this linear system of equations, then first one finds one solution by if ad hoc, by trial error. You see there are also methods, but let me say by suppose you know one solution, that means if you know a system is consistent, then all solutions you can write down by using the corresponding homogeneous system. That means by computing the kernel, and then we put, and then we translate by one vector by one solution, and then we get all the system. And now we also know in this case, so when this system we have written it as Ax equal to b, where b is a column vector, x is also think of as a column vector, and we know if x is invertible, then there is a unique solution, not x. If A is invertible, if A is in GLN, then obviously we know how to find a solution. There is only one solution, namely x equal to, you multiply this equation by A inverse. So, A inverse A x, because A inverse A is identity. So, x is this and this is A inverse times B, and from there you can compare, this is column, this is also column. So, you compare the corresponding components and you get the explicit formulas for exercise, and this is what I want to write it down, but this I do it after the break. Okay.